When it comes to preparedness, there is one thing that all preppers struggle with, and that is time. Time is a luxury that a lot of folks don't have, meaning that you want to have time to prepare, you want to have time to create a homestead, you want to become more self sufficient and whatnot, but you have still that 8 to 5 pesky thing that you have to carry, well, because you have bills, because you have not made that transition completely into self sufficiency. So you still have a job that you have to contain with. So for those of you who are starting, or for those of you who do have a job and want to start into the whole more self sufficient lifestyle, you probably are looking into, well, what animals should I get? Now, the 99% of the time, most people will say, you got to start with chicken. Chickens are you go to. And here's my answer. Yes and no. And hear me out. Chickens are great. Don't get me wrong. Chickens are great, and depending on the area that you are in, you may be allowed to have them. You may only be allowed to have hens and no roosters. That is the case. You're going to have eggs, but a hen don't need a rooster to lay eggs. I can tell you that right now. But if you want to have the little chickens, the little baby chickens, you need a rooster, because those eggs need to be fertilized. So keep that in mind. A rooster, man, I tell you what, it will cock-a-doodle-doo at 12 or 9. It will cock-a-doodle-doo at 4 in the morning. And at the time that the sun comes up, man, they go at it for real. That's the time that they really go. So don't be bamboozled by people saying like, oh yeah, I know, roosters only cock-a-doodle-doo once. No, they do not. No, they do not. And some roosters get their wires crossed, and the cock-a-doodle-doo a lot. So keep that in mind. So if you live in town, that might be a problem for you. In fact, I know for the fact that some towns do have specific ordinance saying you cannot have roosters. You can have hens, but no roosters. We'll be like, well, how about can we get goats, the milk, and we can make cheese and all of that good stuff. Again, where you live. The bigger the animal, the more space they're going to need. So if you have now goats, consider the fact that goats are escape artists. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but those suckers can jump. They can find the smallest hole, and they can squeeze through it. I mean, they're just gonna escape. I mean, it's just the reality. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Now, same deal with the goats than with the roosters. When you have a billy and you have a nanny, I tell you what, when they get that time of the year, that billy will get fairly annoying. I can tell you that right now. They will smell funky. It's not as bad as people say. Some do, but it's not as bad as people say. And the funny thing is, the older they get, the worse they get. That is a sure thing. But nannies do need a belly. Otherwise, they cannot get pregnant. If they don't give birth, you're not going to have milk. You're not going to be able to do the cheese that you want and whatnot. They require a lot more food. Goats do eat a lot of... They don't eat cans. Don't feed goats cans. That is not true. That's cartoons. But they do require hay, some grain and whatnot, vitamins. Goats, the bad thing about goats is they're very prone to get worms, intestinal worms. So you got to give them shots every so often. So keep that in mind. And plus, they're bigger animals, meaning that it's not like a chicken that you can grab and just put in the pan and that's it. And the first time that nanny gets birth, it is not as easy to milk as people think. People have this mindset of, I'm going to get a goat and I'm just going to go there and... Yeah, first of all, that's not the way it works. I got to tell you something. At the beginning, these boobies are not that big. Now, as they get older, then they get bigger. But at the beginning, they're not big. So you have to like slowly, slowly, because she's a first timer. And let me tell you something, they don't like it. They get used to it after, but they don't like it at the beginning. So keep that in mind. It's a chore. It's not as fun as people think. Of course, there is the route of having piglets and whatnot. Again, same deal. Once you have a hug, I mean, that's a different story. In my opinion, don't get into pigs unless you have a bit of a space to deal with them. Understand that a sow and a hog are two different things. Sows do get aggressive when they get the little piglets. They do get aggressive. I can tell you that for a fact. So keep that in mind as well, especially if you have small children going around a sow, which is get birth, and of course, you only have to have the little piglets with the sow for 45 days. That's it. After that, you can remove them. But nonetheless, cows, larger animal. Horses, larger animals. Here's the thing, y'all. You have to consider how much time you want to put in, because your time is limited, and it's limited because you have to still attend that 8 to 5. So my advice to you all is, instead of starting with all of those animals, start with the smallest animals you can. And in my opinion, will give you the biggest bang for your buck, and that is quails. Start with quails. They don't require a lot of space. In fact, you can buy cages that you can assemble at home. And I have this cage that you actually are seeing here. I have it in my prepper shed. And I have currently 20 hens and 2 roosters. And I just got all my eggs. Look. So I get quite a bit of eggs every single day. About 20 eggs per day. That is more than enough for us. We don't eat a lot of eggs. And 3 eggs equals 1 chicken egg. So do the math. Again, we don't eat a lot of eggs in this house. But quails don't make a lot of noise. In fact, people don't know how to rooster sounds when it comes to quails. They think it's just another animal. That you might have a parrot in your house. Nobody cares. Small space. They don't eat a whole lot, and their food is not that awfully expensive. In fact, 50 pounds is about $32, $38, depending on the amount of percentage of protein that they had inside. They do require high grade protein on it, but at the same time, these little eggs have a lot of antioxidants in it, a lot of vitamin B12, especially for my area that we don't have a lot of sunshine during winter. And I hate taking pills. Well, Mrs. D has been doing a lot of breakfast with quail eggs, and well, it's just good for you. The other thing is, they don't require a lot of attention. I come here once per day. Once per day, I make sure that I put water. I make sure that they have food, and no big deal. Nothing out of the ordinary. Every 3 days, I change the pans that they have underneath. I change it. I put pee-pee pads on there. That way, when I come in, I just remove them, fold them in, no mess, put it in the garbage can, and I put new pads on it, put it in there, bam. One key thing to understand about quails is a dozen quail eggs will cost the same as a dozen chicken eggs. What I'm trying to say here is, if you go to Walmart, a dozen eggs is going to cost you around what, $5.99? Well, that is exactly the amount of money that people, and I'm saying people, will pay for a dozen of quail eggs. Meaning that if I get this every single day, I can sell half a dozen, and I still got some leftovers. Every single day I can sell 1 dozen, let's say for $5. That covers the entire cost of me having quails. And quails start laying eggs like a clock, at the latest at 8 weeks. 8 weeks. Now a chicken takes a little longer. A chicken has also a lot more meat and the eggs is a lot bigger, but you have to wait longer and they eat a lot more. Now when it comes to meat, I have to tell you that chickens, I mean, other way to go. You need 3 quails, at least 3 quails for a decent meal. It is the truth, they are small. But when it comes to eggs, specifically eggs, I think because they start laying eggs so early and every single day, and you don't need a whole lot of stuff. All you need is a little light in there, giving them enough light, and that is it. I think the quail is the way to go for anybody who starts into their preparedness. It is small. They are small. You don't need a whole lot of space, meaning that your footprint is small enough. You can have it in an apartment. No big deal. No issues. They are, however, a little dusty. Make sure you just have an air purifier around it. I have mine right next to them, so I keep the dust under control in this area right here. So keep that in mind. Other than that, I hope this video helps you. If you are starting to prepare, I'll tell you what. I have had animals before. I had animals in Florida. All kinds of animals. All kinds. Even ostriches. We have all the animals. But here in Alaska, because we have to have them, I mean, this is a different environment. We started slow. We started with the smallest animals that we can get, and that was quails. And thus far, we are very, very happy. Very happy. They don't take a lot of space. They don't take a lot of food. They don't take a lot of water. And they are fairly okay to clean. Nothing is 100% good, but they are okay to clean. So, with that being said, I hope this video helps. Like always, rock on, prep on, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.